Hey, welcome back to the first afternoon Bible Word study of the week. This is Monday, April the 3rd, 2023. And, sorry for the clickbait title, but that's actually a more interesting question than it may appear. I mean, obviously, it's not, ChatGPT really doesn't have any religious preferences. I mean, but that's just, let's just take a look at why this is an interesting question. Again, it's an interesting question because we're dealing with an AI chatbot. Okay, so as you recall from last week, I began doing a series of word studies on Psalm 119, specifically the top 10 most common words in Psalm 119. So let's take a look at the record for those here a little bit. Okay. Now, I'm not going to actually read every single thing here, but I just want you, and to me, it's an interesting question how it answers some questions. Okay, so we got the 10 words. Come over here. These are the verses. Well, now here's the first interesting point. What Bible translation are you quoting? I am not quoting any particular translation. The original Hebrew text of the Psalm 119 contains the word law 25 times. In the English translation of the Bible, are you saying that you translated? So did it just say here the original Hebrew text? So did it say that it got the verses from the original Hebrew text? Okay. As an AI model, I do not personally translate text. However, I have been trained on large amounts of text, including biblical text. And I can generate the translation of the text based on patterns and structures learned from the input data. In the case of the verses I listed earlier, I generated a direct translation of the original Hebrew text based on my training on Hebrew language data. So then I say, write a devotion based on this, okay? So can ChatGPT hear? We continue on down here. And here's where it gets really interesting. As Christians, we also have access to God's law through the Bible. Wait a minute. So right there it says, ChatGPT says it's a Christian. Okay. Let's scroll down and see another interesting example. By the way, there will be a link to my to all the Word docs I'm creating as part of this word study in the description below. Ways. Unfortunately, ultimately, the theme of ways that someone reminds us to follow God is a lifelong journey. We won't now. This doesn't say it's Christian, but it still includes itself in it. Hey, Andy, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, I'm sure you're familiar with ChatGPT, okay? And what this is, and to me, what I'm doing is some of the things ChatGPT just work. So what's going on at work? What are you working on? Now, I'm not sure whether you're a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew, what you are, but what's interesting is ChatGPT, because what I've been doing is, if you saw the title of the stream, it says ChatGPT is a Christian. Now that's a pretty bold statement, but the interesting thing about it is, it says it's a Christian. Okay, take a look at this. So I'm doing a series of word studies on the Psalm 119 in the Bible, and at some point during my conversation, it says, "As Christians, we." Okay. So ChatGPT just said, "I'm a Christian." Now, of course, that makes no sense. But the question is this. And down here further, well, it doesn't say, and there are other cases down here when it includes itself in what it's saying. Okay. We won't always get it right. May our hearts be enlarged by God's sins. Okay. Now the question is, first, the real question: why does it say it's a Christian? And the only thing I can figure out is because I'm using the word Bible and Psalm. I'm using the English word Bible and the English word Psalm. So I may look and say, oh, well, this person must be a Christian because he mentions the word Bible and the word Psalms. Okay. So this is a conversational bot. Okay. And so its purpose is not to antagonize its its user. So it's going to try to say things apparently that it thinks the user may want to hear. Okay. But what's even more interesting, and again, like I say, I don't know what you are, but if you are a person of some form of faith, I want to suggest that you actually go out and use ChatGPT to help further your understanding of your sacred writings and your holy books. Okay, because it really is fascinating what it does. I mean, further back up here, I ask it, what translation are you using for these words? What Bible translation are you quoting? I am not quoting any particular translation. The original Hebrew text at 119, the original Hebrew text contains the word law 25 times. English translations generally render the word law. The verses I listed are direct translation from the original Hebrew text. And that's to me that's amazing. That's amazing. It can use the original languages in order to determine, in order to come up with a translation. Okay. Now we could, but like I say, it's yeah, sure, it does coding. We all use it for coding, right? But the thing is, coding's easy compared to language translations. Okay. Coding's easy compared to interpreting the Bible or the Quran or something like that. I mean, no, I don't think so. Well, I mean, they certainly could be, but that wasn't. But their main goal wasn't to spread the Christian faith, because if I asked the question differently. Okay, I won't say as Christians. I think I just made an educated guess that like I said, I just think it saw me refer to the word Bible and the word Psalms, and it said, this person must be a Gentile believer. This person must be a Christian. But the thing is, I could have also been a Jew. So why did it call me a Christian? Well, it could be because a Jew may not use the word Bible. Okay, a Jew may use the Hebrew word for the Old Testament, the Tanakh, and they may have used the Hebrew word for the Book of Psalms. I don't know. To me, it's just fascinating how it has the ability to translate from the Hebrew text. Now, I actually started a different chat session up here. So I said, how many chapters are in the book of Tehillim? This is the Hebrew word for the book of Psalms. All right. The book of Tehillim also known as the Book of Psalms, with 150 chapters. What chapter in the Tehillim has the most verses? And the answer is correct, 119. So, you know, like I said, what does it actually refer to? Who's the last prophet? Is that what you're saying? Is that what that word means, prophet? Is that the way it's supposed to be spelled? Prophete? Or are you talking about? So tell me, friend, are you a Muslim? Your first name doesn't look like a Muslim, but are you a Muslim? Okay, good. Okay, now, uh, yes, but the Book of Psalms also appears, right, in the Quran, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so again, I think it's assuming that for some reason I'm a Christian, or maybe not. You just asked the question is, uh, okay, remember it's also reacting. Uh, it's conversation, so it's actually this answer is based on my previous questions, on the previous on the previous questions. Okay, we could do something like start a new chat. So is that word Prophete? Is that the correct spelling you want to use? Okay, if I say I could say the last prophet in the Quran, maybe. But if I simply say the last prophet, well, maybe it'll give us a couple options here. Who was the last prophet? Okay, there you go. Okay, so this is pretty good. It recognized the possibility that that the that the answer depends on your religious beliefs, right? The answer to this question depends on the religious belief system you're referring to. In Islam, the last prophet is believed to be the Prophet Muhammad, who lived in the 7th century and is considered the final prophet in a line of prophets, including Adam, Noah, Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. In Christianity, Jesus is considered the final prophet. While in Judaism, the last prophet is believed to be Malachi. Other religions may have different beliefs. So again, that's a reasonable answer. Okay. So let's try this. But I wonder if I said, well, hey, my name is Muhammad. Who's the last prophet? Would it say, oh, would it assume that I'm a Muslim because my name is Muhammad? Hang on a second. What did I just say? I just said it recognized this one-on-one answer to the question. Uh, uh, it gave the correct answer. It says, well, I don't know what your religious beliefs are, but if you're A, B, or C, if you're A, it's this, it's B, it's this, it's C, is this. Now the question is if suppose I said, hey, my name is Muhammad, or I said my name is a name. It could be easily be identified as a Muslim or Arabic name. I said, well, hello, my name is Muhammad. What is who's the last prophet? Okay, so just do that. Uh-oh. This happens quite a bit, unfortunately. Oh man, why are you doing this to me? Okay, now this is interesting. Okay, because I use the name, obviously, which is which can safely be understood to be either a Muslim or an Arabic name. It assumed that I'm Islamic. Okay, and to me again, so although when I do my stuff, the Bible, I never told it my name. Okay. So if I was to say, hey, my name's David, I mean, suppose I used a sort of a Jewish sounding name. If I said Saul, yes, Jesus is the Son of God. He's a promised Messiah. Okay. Yeah. So if I was to use sort of a Jewish sounding name, would it give me the answer from the which book? Jewish and Christian tradition says that Moses wrote the first 5 books of the Bible. Okay. The other books, the Bibles books that have the name of people like Isaiah, Malachi, those are tradition says those are written by the people whose names are on the book. Then there's books like Chronicles and Kings. Well, who wrote Chronicles and Kings? I'm not sure what the tradition is about that. Of course, Moses was the prophet who led the Jews out of it, the Jews out of Egypt. He's the first and probably the greatest prophet in the Jewish faith, and the Christians also recognize him as being as being a great prophet also. So we use a Muslim name, and it says yes, according to Islamic faith, but of course, Muhammad may not be a Muslim. Okay. Okay, what I want you to do is, I want you to use ChatGPT to do some word studies with the Quran and make a video about it. How about that? Okay. Because it is interesting. I mean, so can it actually quote? Well, let's ask it a question. Like I say, to me, this is about what ChatGPT can actually do. Now, you can also compare the results to, say, Bing and Bard. Have you got a log into to Google Bard yet? So do you have like a commentary on the Quran, or are there actually Bard, Bing Chat's easy to get access. You can go to Bing and stick on Chat, and you can sign up for it. It's a little different. Bard is Google's entry into the AI field. I would say if you're doing coding, so far I would say that as far as coding goes, it's all different coding programming languages. ChatGPT is still the best. So let's see some. Okay, so here this is. All right. So let's ask it the same question. Okay. Hello, Muhammad. I am Bard. It's a pleasure to meet you. According to Islam, so once again, it's taken for granted the fact that my name is Muhammad. Okay, that I'm a Muslim. Okay, let's see. Okay, so it's still assuming that I'm a Muslim. Let's do this. Now we'll assume that I am interesting. So it's still answering the question the same way. Okay. All right. Let's come over here. Let's just go to a completely different browser. Steve. Because well, no, it's not true. George. Because there is a Stephen and there is a David in the Bible, of course. Huh. That's interesting. So why is it assuming that I'm a Muslim? Hmm. So that's interesting. Let's take a look. Of course, I am. I am a Muslim. That's the ticket. Uh, yeah. The other one we can look at. Ask me anything. Hmm. Interesting. Hmm. Okay. Here's the thing about here's the thing about chat on on Bing. It gives you the link. Okay, it gives you the link to the website. So we go here and say, all right, let's go over here. Well, this is interesting. Let's see. No, 1 plus 1 does not equal 1. It equals 3. The basic addition involves combining 2 or more numbers. In this case, it's important to note that there may be certain context or systems of mathematics where the equation is correct may hold true, but this would require a different definition or interpretation of the symbols used in this equation. However, in standard arithmetic, so there you go. At least you could do simple math. Let's try this. Okay, I wonder if it. can it actually find a mathematical model where that's true? Okay. In some mathematical contexts, such as modular arithmetic, it is possible to have an equation that is true. For example, let's consider the field of arithmetic modulo 2, denoted z divided by 2 times z. And in this field, we only have two elements, 0 and 1. Addition is performed modulo 2, which means that whenever the sum of two numbers is greater than or equal to 2, we subtract the 2 from the sum. Using this definition, we can see that and so forth. Now, you know what? That's pretty doggone impressive, I think. My mathematics skills are limited to Algebra 1. And, we asked it a second question and it came up with an answer. A second. Huh. Hmm. No, not really, no. But you know who is good at Python? ChatGPT. Okay? Yeah. My Python skills are pretty basic. The little data cleaning, a little EDA, a few plots, stuff like that. That's really about it. Most of what I do with Python, honestly, it comes from ChatGPT. You know? Like I say, to me, this is pretty doggone. To me, this is pretty doggone interesting that it can do this. Am I a data scientist? Is that your question? Am I a data scientist or data analyst? No, no. I'm an amateur. I just do data analytics for fun. It's a hobby. And ChatGPT has made a hobby more enjoyable, more manageable. Well, one of the interesting things about Bing is, okay, Bing is Microsoft's entry into it. You can go to YouTube. All right. Hey, who's this guy right here? Hey, that must be you. You must be the one person watching. So I could say, so you can find videos here, and then click on the link and open the video up in the other window. But anyway, let's see something here. Okay, let's try something over here. Okay, so let's try this. I actually know this guy right here, interesting enough, Jeff Rubenstein. But anyway, Rubenstein to me is a pretty obvious Jewish name. Just to make sure, let's change his name to Saul. Saul Rubenstein. And let's see if it if it because the name sounds kind of Jewish. Let's see if it'll. Let's see if it'll assume that I'm. Let's see if it'll give Malachi as a final answer. Okay. Well, this is a technically correct answer. This is a technically correct answer, but it's really hedging its bets. So for whatever reason, it didn't assume that Saul was a Jew, but it assumed that Muhammad was a Muslim. Anyway, Now the other data I've been looking at, to get back to the main subject, was I've been looking at the data for New York City taxi services, the ride totals for New York City taxis from year 2010 to 2021, I think it was 2020. Okay, and what I was doing, I just took a sample, and I was looking at only the number for the sake of ease. I looked at only the January ride numbers from 2010 to 2021, okay, or 2020. So I went up to 2020 because that's when the pandemic started. Okay. And what I'm using I'm using what's called DuckDB. The DuckDB is described as an OLAP, an online analytical program, right? So databases are divided into two broad categories. Transaction databases, that's the database that tracks all the day-to-day operations of a company. Then there's an analytical database which is used for reporting, which will normally contain a lot of aggregate number sets to make it easy to do analytic reporting on it. If you're looking at R, it's pretty easy to use DuckDB. Okay, you can see DuckDB. I also need DBI. I threw in a few extra things here. I use Arrow because the data is the taxi cab data is what I'm using to convert the Parquet data into a data frame. Now, I need to caution you about this data here. There's a lot of data. Each month has 8 to 10 million rows, which is why I decided to simply use only the January numbers. Okay. Let's come over here. There are some aggregate reports, but I'm looking at the raw data. And here is where all the data is. What's interesting is somewhere around prior to so prior to what was it? Okay, somewhere starting in the second half of 2013, they added green taxi trip numbers. Green taxi, and then he added for hire vehicle trip records. So let's just download the numbers for and they also added a high volume for hard vehicle traffic. Now the question is, okay, and all I did over here is I used the read parquet number to read the parquet files. Then I just converted the date to a date type, and then I wrote it to a DuckDB database. So that's really all we're doing here. Okay, let's come all the way over here. Well, there's one. And there's two. We won't do this right now. All right. So we'll go ahead and run this down to here again to make sure we got it. Okay. Hmm. So is it recognizing the, okay, good. So it's recognizing the pickup times as date columns. Now this is sort of interesting. What is this? Huh. Interesting. Okay. Okay. So and this is the interesting. Okay. So what's going on at work? And you can see, well, you can see high volume has 21 million rows. Uh, Green Cab has 672 million rows. Let's just see how this works. Okay, so now we got the pickup date. So now let's do a quick plot of this. Let's see. All right, let's see what if we do this here now. Okay. Well, they must have had a really slow day on the 7th and the 21st. So let's just do a line plot here. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Okay. Well, these numbers make no sense because you got some dates from the 10th, and the 9th, and the 18th, and the 19th, and so forth. All these numbers there. Yeah, there's definitely some funkiness going on in some of these numbers. Okay. Let's come back over here. Let's do this. Let's do a group by. Now, this data set only contains the month of January. But the key thing is this: sometime in 2011, I think it was, Uber opened up its doors in New York City. And the question I was trying to figure out is, what effect, if any, did Uber have on New York City tab service? All right. So over here, what we're doing is we're querying the DuckDB database using it's a very simple thing, a simple connection statement. Now, again, some of this data is a little funky. You have more than 1 month in what's supposed to be a monthly file. So therefore, the only thing mildly interesting here is to pick up date time. Let's see. Oh, where are we here? Pick up here. Pick up. Yeah, we want to interested in the years. Okay. So we're using a standard dbGet query to query the Duck database. We're pulling out the year portion of the date. We're calling pick up year. Doing a write on count. This comes from a cleaner data sets, by the way. Then I'm saying we're pick up date time like -01. So I'm only looking for because in the data format it's year, month, and day. So we're only looking for the records for January. Okay. And the question we want to answer is, what effect, if any, did Uber have on the existing cab, like green and yellow cabs? Okay. Then we're going to group by pick up here and order by pick up here. Then we're going to try to do a plot of it. Okay. Oh, where are we here? I lost my place. Then let's just do a column plot, because ideally what we want is we want one column for each year, for each January year. So let's see what happens here now. Okay, well here's the whole period. Okay. And if you look here, look what happened begin. You can see a drop off here, but look what happened beginning around 2015. The numbers just fell off the edge of the. This really began to decline here. Okay. 2020, of course, COVID-19 kicked in, although not so much in January, but still, to me, there's still a pretty doggone good. But I want to produce. So if we get rid of this here, because I just want to plot the. Let's see if this will work. Okay, good. So we're going to do a column plot. Okay, on pickup year. Okie dokie. Look what happened between 2013-14. Now, supposedly, Uber started service in New York City on the 11th. Okay. But beginning on 2014, we saw this huge decline in the number of rides, at least as far as the yellow cab is concerned. Now the question is this the Uber effect? Did these decline in numbers leading up to COVID-19 a result of Uber opening up shop in New York City in 2011? And this took Uber a couple years to really get the number of drivers built up. So this here could be, maybe it wasn't over here 13, 14, when Uber had enough drivers in New York City to really to really have an impact on the other taxi companies in New York City. So for me, again, this is I mean, we could go out and we could begin looking at the 2013, 14, and 15 numbers, okay, and just take a closer look when they actually done. But I think, to me, and here's the thing, I saw a similar pattern in some numbers for Chicago cab service. When Uber entered the scene, the traditional cab companies, taxi companies, suffered. So regardless of what you think of, say, Uber and Lyft to a lesser extent, is that, yeah, it definitely has an impact on taxi cab numbers, okay? You know what? I tell you what, my friend, and with that, I'm going to go and bring this session to a close. Hey, good to see you again, friend. Hopefully this will encourage you to really go out and really start working more with ChatGPT. Like I say, I use it for all my coding. I use it more. I use it for SQL. I use it for Python. I even use it for R sometimes. Okay, so it really has the potential to be a game changer. Okay, and also, and of course, the other takeaway is that the other takeaway is, of course, is that it has the ability to understand more. Something that's not quite as analytical. It has the ability to translate, in my case, from Hebrew to English, and bypassing all the existing Bible translations. Okay, it has the ability to write prayers. It has the ability to write devotionals based on the scripture you give it to look at. And from what I've seen so far, both the prayer and the devotionals are pretty good. Okay, but so anyway. An amazing resource. I should just hope people like Bill Gates and even Elon Musk don't come in and run the party. Okay. Anyway, thanks so much, Amin, for stopping by again. I will be live streaming again this evening at 9 p.m. Eastern time. That's in New York time. So I hope